Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Karishma Connect. On this episode, I have got Tamanna Singh, founder of Menoveda, India's first menopause only brand, and pioneering a new era in femtech, not fintech, she tells me as she talks to me about investing in research so early on into this business and what it unfolded. So many different insights that are super interesting, things that you wouldn't have even heard of about this subject that is often considered a taboo but actually isn't. And she tells me more about that. She talks to me about how families can support women in menopause and how Menoveda's products through the wonders of Ayurveda are trying to ease that transition for women. So go check out the episode, and until the next one, stay tuned. This is me, Karishma, and I'll be back next Tuesday with yet another one. Until then, tada. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Karishma Connect. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm really looking forward to getting to know more about a topic that I have quite understood from my own mother when she was going through her menopausal time, and a range of other ladies around me and women who have gone through this. And I'm glad that brands like yours are picking it up and, bringing it to the forefront. But tell me about the journey so far up until that point.
Thank you so much for having me, first of all, Karishma. Journey so far has been really crazy. We conceptualized this thought 2 years back. We are a very R&D focused company.
Yeah.
So we wanted to, because the first thing that hit and what everybody told us was menopause is a taboo.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to understand, is it or is it not? So our first step, when we started exploring more options, is that we did a survey in India at that point of time, and we did a parallel survey globally. So Indian survey was around for 5,000 women, just to understand what do they think about the topic, are they comfortable speaking about it, what do they take, what they don't take, what have they been told through generation and has been passed on. At a global platform, it was at a slightly lower level, around 1,500 women globally in US, Australia, Canada, Europe, and just to understand as to how they are perceiving and what they are taking.
Mm,
Because I was speaking to several of my friends and who were, CHROs, CXOs, or top of their game. And if you were to give them a call randomly, either they are undergoing a hot flash, or they're in the pool because they just can't get over the heat, or they're having a fight with their partner, or they're feeling cranky all the time, or they're just crying uncontrollably for no reason, which they
mm,
also realize and understand and identify, but they are unable to identify why is it happening. So it's more of an identity crisis, but in every sphere it was affecting her, physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually. That is when we thought that let's try and find out what are the options available. So we
mm,
understood from our survey that came very strongly was like 98% women were comfortable talking about menopause. And
mm.
that is what was like, the biggest, like what happened. I mean, they are saying, everybody else is saying menopause is a taboo, but who are they?
Yeah,
Who are they?
yeah.
Because typically 45 to 55 is actually in the most amazing phase of her life, and she's totally so bindas. I mean, if I could use that word, uh, they were very happy talking about it.
Yeah.
81% wanted to speak to their families, and they were very comfortable talking to their families about menopause.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, 87% felt that their family was of no use or of no help to them. So there is a huge contradiction that they want to express, but it's not happening.
Uh,
And at the same time, the age group is such that women are also undergoing that empty nest syndrome.
yeah.
Kids have gone off, and and suddenly those, especially those who have not worked for the longest time, are feeling suddenly those identity crisis in terms of what am I here for. So everybody is trying to explore the higher purpose that they are here for. And that is when we realize that, okay, now let's come on to the second part, which
Mm,
is what are you taking for that. So
mm,
globally we found interestingly that HRT is only recommended to 12% women, and
mm,
that is also medically or otherwise most towards the Western world. Now
mm,
that is something that is an option. It's not that it's compulsory. Until as it's really compulsory, it is. Now, second thing that was surprising that came out during that was that during the medical school, gynecologists don't even have a chapter on menopause, which is like crazy. You know, every woman on planet will undergo menopause,
yeah.
and women will be spending one third of their life in this phase. And
Yeah.
when gynecologists tell you it's a matter of 2 3 years, just jello it, or as you would say, just take it all in, or it's just like the last phase and just go with it and just, it's crazier. We are in
Yeah.
21st century. I can't afford to
Absolutely.
say that my menopause is not bad. I should say my menopause is great.
Yeah.
We should have a great menopause. Why not? It's just a transition. It's not a disease. It's just a phase. So those were the surprising things. And what tempted us to do Ayurvedic solutions is that we found either HRT or soya based product. Now HRT is very debatable, so I'll not go there. But women themselves were very conscious. Doctors were very conscious. They were not looking at HRT as much of an option.
Mm.
Soya products hamper your gut health, especially during menopause or if you have thyroid. That leads to a lot of bloating and a lot of weight gain and other issues. Other supplements, over the counter supplements, which caters for around 95% of the market, were Chinese traditional medicine. And when
Mm.
you see Chinese traditional medicine, great. I mean, somebody is offering a solution. But they were typically products like ashwagandha, moringa, mukta, vishti. I'll be like, okay, when did that happen? When did these become like a Chinese traditional medicine and not Ayurveda? So
Yeah.
we reached out to a lot of people, understanding from a global perspective, why not Ayurveda? They
Huh.
told us a couple of things. The Ayurvedic products are not well researched. They don't have a clinical study. There is no toxicology report that is usually done around them. And these are some of the reasons why we don't. However, as second part of the menopausal transition, we always prefer women undergoing menopausal transition take the supplement or whatever treatment along with meditation and yoga. So you
Mm.
are giving extended arms of Ayurveda, but not Ayurveda.
Mm.
So we as a brand, Menoveda is like India's first menopause only brand and also world's first menopause brand easing menopausal transition through Ayurveda.
Okay.
So we want to put Ayurveda on a global map. It is already there, but we this is something like
Pune.
India's gift to women of the world. That is how what we want to position the brand as. Our products are clinically tested. Our products are researched, well researched. I'm so glad and proud to say that like we came out with a clinical study. It is already there on ResearchGate and other clinical journals. It's posted there, and our products they have been proven for their efficacy and they've been proven for their toxicology. So we've ticked all those boxes. Happy that we this year we launched in India. In fact, we have just recently on 18th of October was World Menopause Day. We released our
I was going
first
to do this
menopause
at that time.
report. Yes, that was the first industry report of menopause, and it was
Wow.
crazy. I mean, those who have read the numbers are, people thought it is this way, but it is the other way.
Mm.
So yeah, journey so far has been like crazy, and it's been up and up. Touch wood, no setbacks. Still fighting the stigma, not exactly the stigma, if I'll say. And Indian women are really, really. I mean, for some reason, I don't know how they are perceived globally. I think Indian women were much more comfortable talking about it. There was no shame, and they wanted. They realized what they want.
Yeah.
That's the best part of it. I do a hybrid between India and Australia. I'm based out of Sydney also. And when I spoke to women there, they were not that comfortable. They were not.
Mm.
Believe you me, even my friends in US, it was more of a hype,
Mm.
but it was menopausal shame attached to it. It's for some reason. But that's not there in India. It may be brushed under the carpet, but that's not there.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
So, it just opened up a lot of doors for us. It just,
Yeah.
a lot of VCs at times I meet or investors or other friends, who are still correcting me when I say I'm in femtech. They say, oh, you mean fintech? I said, no, femtech. So
Mm.
I'm still trying to explain them that femtech and femtech are different, or do actually women need this, or it's just ending, the cycle is ending. Why do you need it? Why do you even need a product? But it's amazing. And the moment you start telling them and you tell them go back home, speak to your mother or wife or somebody who's in that age group, and when they come back, believe you me, they are like, they're like, you have opened a different world to us. We
Yeah.
were never not aware.
Yeah.
you know
Indeed.
so
I
it's
mean, these stats
crazy.
never come out. I mean, I've never heard a conversation around menopause in this kind of a light as well. And like you said, it's surprising that people are. We often are made to think that acha, it's no, it's a taboo and everything. But it's surprising that people are willing to talk about it. But tell me, one thing that I realized from the journey is also the fact that you invested in research at a very early stage of your startup, which
Yes.
not many people do. I haven't seen. I've interviewed several startups here, but most of the times a startup starts from just a spontaneous idea or whatever. Rarely do people even go back and research. Can you tell me more about that choice that you made?
I'm a third time entrepreneur and
Mm,
I'm 46. I think I've been telling world this now, my age, I think I'm in that age bracket. I understand the importance of research.
yeah.
As a third time founder, you understand. And as a brand, we just can't afford to have women more toxic or products which have side effects because
Mm,
as it is, she's going through a lot.
mm,
So, just to avoid anxiety or depression or insomnia, I can't be giving you something which is habit forming and which is not recommended or is damaging your liver in long term. We can't.
mm,
So we were very conscious of our choices. That's the best thing that we could do as a brand. Yes, we have invested early on and we got the right research partner. I'm glad to say we have amazing research partners with us, and we got a lot of gynecologists, ayurveda charyas, formulators. I'm a formulator myself, so
mm.
it was just that we have to get it done right, you know.
Yeah.
So yes, so that was amazing, and that's what we are trying to do. So it's a personal choice because it's health and
Mm,
it's women health, so it's more dear right
yeah.
now for us.
And is there something, I mean, you have already shared quite a few, but is there something, are there some myths that you would bust for people who are going through this phase currently in their lives?
Oh, there are a lot. So in last 10 months, 8 to 10 months, we have spoken to around 15,000 women. So our survey, completed with almost 25,000 women. But personally, I would have spoken to like almost 7,500 women
Mm,
in last 10 months. It's crazy. First of all, I think women think that it just stops one day.
yeah.
It doesn't. It just doesn't. You need to know that.
Mm,
And I don't know for what reason, for generations, it has been just passed on. Because
mm,
typically when we surveyed women on tier one, two, three in India, I said, what is it like, or what do you think, or what do you know about it? Leave apart the other age groups, just the 45 to 55. They were like, "Ek din band ho jata hai." I said, did you actually miss your science class or what happened? It doesn't. एंड देन दे थिंक कि डॉक्टर्स ने बोला है 2-3 साल झेल लो, which is practically not true. So it's not about 2-3 years. The
yeah.
whole transition can last from 3 years to 12 years.
Yeah.
And what they don't realize is they think that menopause starts when your periods stop. It doesn't. Perimenopause starts 10 years, 8 to 10 years before your menopause, your average age of menopause, right? So you are practically in the late 30s and early 40s where you might be thinking that you have PCOD or PCOS or some other lifestyle issues, and you're just mixing up the symptoms. But it is actually perimenopause, which is the hormones are getting uh, imbalanced.
Mm,
Secondly, some of the times we've seen even doctors misdiagnosing it. Early 40s to 45
mm,
is that age group where if you were to go typically with a migraine or a headache to a doctor, you would be the typical line of treatment would be what we have seen and what we have asked doctors is that they say that either your eyesight or maybe your tooth problem or you then they will otherwise tell you to get an MRI or a CT scan done
mm, mm,
along with then the medications and everything. But nobody's checking your hormone levels. Nobody's asking then are the periods flow irregular or heavy or light, So
yeah.
nobody's checking on that. So
Yeah.
that is surprising. So and that majorly we realized when we started getting to the root of the problem that
Mm,
they are not being grouped.
yeah.
A lot of people think that there are no menopause doctors, but there are actually doctors who specialize in this.
Even I don't know
Uh,
this.
yeah, so you could actually, and a lot of women told us that doctor have told them to take this. No, even as a doctor and otherwise during, especially during menopause, I really tell them that your healthcare provider is supposed to give you options.
Mm,
Even as a brand, we are not pushing Ayurveda. We are here to give you better, safer options that actually work, and they work on the root cause without giving any toxins or making you habit. It's not non-habit forming, right?
mm, mm,
So your healthcare provider needs to give you those options.
mm, mm,
Again, a lot of women think that HRT is the only option, otherwise nothing else. Again not true.
mm,
A lot of women think that you can't get pregnant during menopause. You can during your perimenopause. Just because your periods are stopped for 6 months does not mean that you are off your birth control pills or any other thing that you're taking.
yeah.
So you have to realize that. So a lot of things in
These
terms of
things
myths.
people don't know. Yeah. The people haven't even spoken about. Like, I have not even seen. we talk about.
So we had a lot of typical cases where women thought that it's been 8, 9 months, and they don't keep a count. When was the last period? So, and then they say that in 6 months or 9 months, this is at the age of like 45, 47, they've just conceived,
Mm.
and they're like, what happened? And because of the social stigma, or because of the gap in the two kids, or maybe because they are that age. Because again, depending on tier 1 to 3 of India, tier 1 would typically maybe have 45 or 47 with younger kids,
Mm.
but tier 2, tier 3 will have somebody who is in 45, 47, maybe about to be a mother-in-law. I mean, mother-in-law, more of that
Yeah,
fold.
yeah.
So especially if daughters are getting married in early 20s. So with that thought process, it's crazy. A lot of women think that menopause means end of the sex life, which
Mm.
is just not true. The
Yeah,
sexual life has got nothing to do with this.
yeah.
A lot of women told us that, oh, doctors have told them, or otherwise they've been told that they will gain weight. No, there is nothing like will happen during menopause. Hot flashes, a lot of them think that is the only symptom, but that's not true. There are 40 plus symptoms. So when we asked women, 67% could not name the three phases of menopause. And around the same 60% plus did not know that there were more than 10 symptoms of menopause. So
Me too.
realizing, when you're not realizing, that this is a symptom, people think it's hot flashes, but you also get cold chills. So
Yeah,
for some, it may be cold chills,
I've
you
seen that.
know. When we speak to women, they tell us ki, we are having hair fall, or we are having a patch, or we are balding. They think it's a natural thing,
Mm.
it's natural, but it's not natural. If you're losing your hair continuously for over a period of time, it's not natural. There has to be some deficiency, or there has to be something else.
Mm. Mm.
Women they're crying and crying in the night. They're awake from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. Most of our clients are, insomnia is there, and it's just creeping up. You have a sleep deficiency over the years. We have husbands calling us, telling us that my wife is on, antidepressant, or I give her a sleeping pill at around 9 in the evening every night for last 7 years or 10 years, and it's crazy. It's crazy. And we ask them that, she's just 47. Do you think for rest of her life you'll be giving her that? He says, I don't know. What should I do?
Mm.
झेलना हमें पड़ता है. If I were to translate this phase, it is like, we have to take it on. Nobody's told us. And I actually, this is also a bit very difficult, because this particular generation, 45 to 55, ideally their husbands are like minimum 3 to 5 years elder to them,
Yes.
or
Yes.
at least even 10 in some cases.
Yes.
Now the problem is that they have also not been told, as a society, as an Indian society, nobody has told them. Girls do, I mean, we don't know. What do we expect the men to know?
Yeah.
And it's just not normal. It's not. And then we have families where they're fighting, or actually the relationship has gone so bad,
Mm.
because 45 to 55, if you were to take the global average, that's the number where maximum number of women are leaving jobs,
Mm.
maximum number of suicide rates, maximum number of depression and anxiety patients, maximum number of heart failures during 45 to 55. And there has to be a reason. Nobody is looking at what is the reason when it is all combining towards this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a much bigger problem. But again, since it's more of a transition and it's not a disease, that's why people are taking it like, okay, just a phase, this will stop.
Mm.
Even in Indian context, there are a lot of times when we come across women who have been told that if they have some issue, or if they're facing some kind of symptom during this time, get uterus removed.
Yeah.
For God's sake,
I've heard.
removing your uterus is not the answer. If you have fibroids, you have any other clinical issue, or that you've been diagnosed with. I'm not a doctor, so if not in going in that domain, but if that is just happening because the logic is that you don't want to have more kids, or the problem will be out, since you have heavy bleeding, let's get it out. That's not the solution. Your hormones will still fluctuate. You will still have hot flashes, my dear girl. You have to wake up. That's not what it's going to solve problem for you.
Very true.
So that's the problem. We have a huge beautiful community, and we started the community before even we launched. So we said, let's just, let's hot women have fun. So a lot of people joined us, without knowing that what are they joining or signing up for. But now it's a great community on one name basis. And yeah, in fact, I'm so glad that most of the time our community members tell us that what they want.
Yeah.
Like for us, we have like
Something.
three, four lines already defined, but
Mm,
it's just coming up from through them only.
mm,
Okay, you have this product, do this. So what we've done at Menoveda, I'll just take a minute for that also.
absolutely.
We've divided these 40 plus symptoms into four categories:
Okay.
mental health, physical health, dermal health, and sexual health.
Lovely.
That is what we've done differently from everybody else, because right now market solutions are one size fit all.
Huh.
And depending on your health goals, now not depending on your condition, but depending on your personal health goals, if you feel that your sexual health and your mental health needs to be taken care first, definitely. So that's how we prescribe you. We have a beautiful AI driven quiz on the website, or if you know your symptoms, you can just go and buy. These are over the counter, although according to Ayurveda, they are medicines, but these are over the counter. You don't need a doctor prescription, or you could just speak to a consultant. We have menopause coaches in India now, so we are the first brand to have that. And you could speak to our coaches, or you could speak to our doctors. So we just kind of made it very easy for them. Confusion at any point of time, come speak to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the friendships that we are developing with
Sounds
these.
beautiful when you're talking about it. Like the entire focus and journey sounds so beautiful and so
It's
informative.
become very purpose driven. It's become now very purpose driven. I
Yeah.
started as a brand. I saw it as an opportunity, a gap at a global level,
Mm.
and now it's really totally it's changed the direction in terms of being very purpose driven. I'm absolutely enjoying it, and it's like just being with your girl gang. So
Yeah.
we have the saying in the office that our customers are the queen. So, and actually they are. So we only serve the queen, we don't serve the king here. So
But my
yeah.
next question to you also goes to the king and the king and the children and everybody. How can families support women during this time, because I also think that it's very important for everybody to get sensitive or just to kind of realize or be more aware. And then perhaps things can work out even at a much better level, for how do you think, what all do you think families need to understand? And also in the person, not getting into gender, but there is a difference between the awareness of a daughter versus a son in this kind of a subject. What can people understand from both sides as well?
So, interestingly, what we have seen is that I'm so proud of the younger generation. They are so comfortable talking about every topic.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's much easier for us to, stay those communication or conversations with them. They understand, they identify, and they take action.
Mm,
So if they were to see their mothers, both boys and girls now here, they are very comfortable. They'll talk about it and they will be very open. They'll ask their moms and all that. So that part is very good. Slightly older. So this is I'm talking about around 20, 20 to 25. From 25 to 35, because the next generation is actually also busy with their own workload and everything. That is where mothers are feeling a bit left out or alone and nobody's talking to them, and emptiness syndrome, or all these things are just dwelling. So
mm.
I think if you can be a great listener, what your parents have like answered you like thousand times when you used to ask why, how.
Yeah.
So if you could be great listeners, or if you can just try and understand, or at least just pretend to understand what she's trying to say, because we realize that women just want to talk, they want to speak, and beyond a point, after a day or two or three, that is what our counselors also told us, that it's all empty and they're just fresh.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
it's just building up for years, that nobody's understanding.
Mm,
We had a beautiful neuroscientist with us. She's just written a she's her research is on how mental health is affected during menopause.
mm,
One of her clients, and she told us that her daughter was visiting her, and she prepared her best food, what she liked, and all that. The daughter was there, and she said for half an hour we did not even speak on the table. And I have gone across and lengths and breadths to prepare the food. I was standing, and my weight issue, my knee pain, and everything. Even after that, and my husband kept telling me, "Don't do so much," and I still did. And we did not even speak on the dining table. She was just clicking pictures, and she was on the phone, and she was on Insta, and I felt really bad.
mm.
And I went to my room later and cried over it, and then I was fresh and all that. Later in the evening, a lot of her friends called that, "Oh, your daughter is here. So how do you know?" She said she posted a lot of pictures on Instagram saying that mom cooked the best meal. So what is happening is the communication is missing. We are there
Right.
and we are not there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
right?
So it's just that if you can understand that, if you can just be a bit more patient enough with that phase, not take her emotional swing as a mental problem, as in, she's gone, she's a gone case or like that, or not have fights over it, that would be great. I also understand that those who have teenager kids again have a hormonal kid in the family.
Yeah.
So there is a lady who's undergoing hormones. And, in this whole context, we're forgetting the men. They are also undergoing andropause.
Yes.
So it's actually a lot of hormones, raging
Let's
hormones in the
also
family.
talk about that because I don't think many people know that men also go through their phases.
Yes, they
That's
undergo andropause, and that nobody's talking about. So maybe if somebody's listening to us, they have an
I don't
opportunity
even
there.
think they are close to talking about like menopause is still something that people would, but I don't think
Yeah.
anybody has even addressed andropause or scratched the topic. Nobody has even, and they are going through their own hormones at that
So
time. Yeah.
we get a lot of women who ask us that, even my husband is undergoing same. Other than some of the symptoms like heavy bleeding, of course, and the hot flashes and night sweats, we've seen men undergoing anxiety, panic attacks, ADHD, brain fog, joint pains, weight gain, those kind of issues, hair loss, dermal issues, even the loss of libido. It's there even in men from 55 onwards, if you see. So
Yeah.
that is there, and that is how, so yes. And for men, I think you just have to be a bit more compassionate towards your partner. It will be great, if you can just do things together. I think women by nature, we are very giving. I'm not saying men are not, they are. But if it's just shown, or if it's just, at least if you take that first step during this transition, it'll be great. It'll be much smoother. Families could be, can make the whole change there.
Yeah, that is very
Yeah.
true. That is very true. And what is that one thing that you would like to tell women who are in their menopause stage to take care of, to prioritize?
Themselves, just themselves, unapologetically. I keep telling them, you have to love yourself unapologetically, and I really mean that. Let it be pampering yourself. It's not a retail therapy that I'm talking about, but pampering yourself in terms of what you eat. I ask a lot of my friends, a lot of these women whom I speak to, that when was the last time you cooked your favorite meal?
Yeah.
And they're usually lost. It's like I'm cooking for my husband or kid or somebody relative, or somebody's coming. I've forgotten what I used to like. If you have left a hobby when you were as a kid, for some reason, for any reason, maybe the resources or the talent was not there, or somebody, it's the time to do that.
Mm.
It's your time, and a lot of introspection. I realized that a lot of women were having that question of, the higher purpose in life. And that's what even Ayurveda says. This phase, earlier it used to be that you go towards the forest and do, adhyatmic dhan and sit and pray and all that. But that time life expectancy was 40. Now life expectancy, at least in India, for women is 80. And
Yeah.
by the time we'll hit 80, it'll be already 100.
Yeah.
So we have almost like, I'm sure in next couple of decades, or at least in next decade only, we'll be saying that women will be spending half of their life in menopause, because you, as it is, the average age is going down and your life expectancy is going up. So there's no way. So you have to prioritize, and you should unapologetically now. A lot of time we question them. Had it been with your daughter or daughter-in-law, son, of husband, you would have just done it
Yeah.
for, gone length and breadth to do it, for take care of them. So it's time now, because that will, what will drive you towards that. And if you want to play with your grandkids, that's how we try to emotionally blackmail them. If you want to play with your grandkids, if you don't want to be in a wheelchair and them taking you everywhere, so you better be in your healthiest best. So
That's
that's
a
what they
lovely
need
note.
to take care
That's a lovely note. I think since time immemorial, I think since history, women are kind of trained in that way, which is now changing thanks to, whether it's brands like yours or conversations that we have started having where we can see that shift happening in women. And hopefully it's headed for the best. Thank you so much for joining me. I feel like this conversation has been so organic that I have learned a lot from it, which is why most of my questions are already answered with everything that we spoke. But
of.
thank you. It's been super insightful. I'm sure a lot of people will just benefit from, tuning in and, hearing all this because I didn't know half the things that you said, yeah, and I'm sure it's gonna be helpful. Thank you for sharing that with me, and more power to you and everything that you do.
Thank you so much. It was actually fun, and it was like a heart to heart. So I really enjoyed that,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
happy to help. I mean, we're just scratching the surface. We have to long way to go, but yes, more power to all of us. I guess
Yes,
that's what I like
absolutely.
to.
And they can buy these. So are they only available in India at the moment? How is it?
No, we ship globally. We ship globally. In fact, US and UAE has suddenly become a hotspot for us. A lot of women
Really?
were taking
Okay.
like 3 months, 6 months supply. And in fact, that's when you said, how can kids help? There are daughters who are buying it for their mothers.
Yeah.
There are sons who are just sending it across to their mothers in UAE and Middle East, especially. So they're available through our website only right
Okay.
now
Okay.
because we realize a lot of the time women want to speak to a coach or a doctor in case of some confusion. Because most of them told us that we have never heard a brand talking about menopause. So are you sure? Is it something that's genuine? Is it something that's there? So only from that point of view to make them have that faith and to handhold them throughout the journey or the transition. So only through a website that we ship globally. Yeah.
And is it only for a specific phase, like the starting, or is it even for people who have gone through their menopause and then they are in the post
So
phase?
we are taking care of perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. So basically, anybody who is in their late 30s or early 40s can start it, and as long as you want, since
Okay.
they are non-habit forming.
Okay.
And yes, that's how. So because Ayurveda beautifully helps you not only in prevention and cure, but also recovery.
It does.
That's the best part. So
Yes.
women who are already in 60s or 70s who have osteoporosis or who have brain fog or gut health issues, insomnia, it can be taken care of. But it will take a bit more time because it has to go back down. I tell them that you always or everyone is starting their account with us in minus. First we have to bring you from minus to zero and then the journey will start. So we have to leave them at least with some deposits in their health account.